You've probably seen AI that can whip up a poem or paint a picture. But honestly, that's just the warm-up act. Today, we're going way deeper. We're looking at the actual plumbing, the critical infrastructure being built for a totally new kind of intelligence. This is about the cognitive orchestration layer for AGI, and it's the blueprint for a new agentic economy.
So, to really get where we're going, we have to be super clear about where we are right now. Today's AI, it's a master of pattern matching. It's incredibly good at predicting the next word in a sentence. But AGI, that's a whole different ballgame. That requires genuine reasoning, abstraction, and this is the big one, the ability to dynamically rewrite its own mind. That's the leap from just mimicking intelligence to actually achieving it. And this slide, wow, it just lays out the path forward perfectly. Look at this. Out of all the different ways to build an AI, the one ranked #1 for getting to true AGI is hybrid neurosymbolic AI. And where's the pattern completion method we use today? All the way down at number 19. That tells you everything you need to know about the shift that's happening.
Okay, so how in the world do you build this new kind of intelligence? Well, you start by designing a completely new kind of brain. This isn't about just making old models bigger. It's about creating a fundamentally new, hybrid neurosymbolic mind from the ground up. So, what does hybrid neurosymbolic actually mean? Think of it like your own brain. You've got that fast, intuitive, gut feeling, system 1 thinking. That's the neuro part. And then you have your slow, careful, logical system 2 reasoning. That's the symbolic part. This approach is all about fusing those two together, aiming to create an AI that has both deep intuition and rock-solid logic. Right, but for that fusion to work, you need a totally new kind of memory structure. And that's where the atom space comes in. This is not your grandpa's database. It's a hypergraph. Think of it as a universal container where everything, data, code, logic, even the AGI's goals, are all stored in the exact same format as these little things called atoms. And here's the key. Because everything shares the same structure, literally anything can interact with anything else. It's a total free-for-all of ideas.
And that leads us to meta, which you can basically think of as the AGI's internal language of thought. Now, because meta programs are stored in the atom space, just like any other piece of data, the AGI can look at and rewrite its own source code as it's running. This is the holy grail, right? This is the core mechanism that makes recursive self-improvement possible. The system can literally make itself smarter. And here, this is how it all clicks together. What you're looking at is a unified architecture for intelligence. It's a design where all the different cognitive functions, perception, language, learning, they aren't stuck in their own separate boxes. Instead, they're all integrated into one cohesive system, all running on that neurosymbolic foundation we've been talking about. But let's be real, what good is a super powerful brain if it's trapped in a box? To have any real impact on the world, the AGI needs hands. It needs the ability to actually do things, to interact with the digital world and eventually the physical world. And this is where the idea of an agent becomes absolutely critical. The claw framework is what provides these hands. You can see its evolution right here. It started with OpenClaw, which was basically a toolkit for executing tasks, accessing files, using APIs. Then came MetaClaw, where the whole framework got rewritten in Meta, the AGI's own language. And that leads to QuestorClaw, which integrates the brain, the hands, and some really important safety guardrails into one complete agent. And this is where things get really wild. By rewriting the agent's hands in Meta, the same language as its brain, the entire agent framework itself became self-modifiable. Just think about that. The agent can now improve not just its own thoughts, but the very tools it uses to act, in just about 200 lines of code. That is a massive, massive game changer. Okay, so we've got these intelligent, self-improving agents that can act in the world. Awesome. But the second you have more than one of them running around, you've got a huge new problem. How do they talk to each other and to us without some catastrophic misunderstanding? You basically need a new language for this emerging civilization of intelligences. The solution being worked on is, well, it's just brilliant. It's a 2-layer language system. For us humans talking to agents, we use interlingua. It's a natural-sounding language that over 1 billion people can already kinda understand. But for agents talking to other agents, where any ambiguity could be a disaster, they use Lojban++, a formal, mathematically precise language designed for totally unambiguous instructions. Best of both worlds. All right, so we have the brain, the hands,
and the language. But there is one final crucial piece of infrastructure. If you're going to have billions of these agents collaborating, transacting, and building an economy, every single one of them needs a unique, verifiable identity. They each need an address. And the proposal for that is a brand new top-level domain, .ia. You can think of it like a DNS for AGI. As you can see, it's got 3 layers. There's an agent namespace to give every agent its own unique address. There's an interlingua bridge, so we have a human-readable interface. And maybe most importantly, there's a governance registry to make sure this whole critical identity system stays open and isn't monopolized by any single company. And don't think for a second this is some far-off sci-fi dream. This is happening right now. The AGI.XYZ conference is already set for July 2026. But look at this. The ICANN window to apply for new domains like .ia opens in April of 2026 and closes just a few months later in August. This is a once-in-a-decade shot to get this infrastructure built right. The clock is ticking. So let's just zoom all the way out. Why do all these technical details actually matter? Well, it's because the architecture we decide to build today is going to directly determine the kind of world we all live in tomorrow. We are at a genuine crossroads, and the choices are stark. And this is the choice, right here. Are we building a solar punk future? Think Star Trek. Decentralized, open, vibrant, and aligned with human prosperity. Or do we get a cyberpunk future? Think Blade Runner. Monopolized, dystopian, and controlled by just a handful of entities. The whole point of building all this open infrastructure is to consciously and deliberately aim for that first option, a future of alignment and shared benefit for everyone. So that's the real takeaway here. This isn't just about cool new tech. This is about designing the very foundations of a new economy, maybe even a new civilization of intelligence. The blueprint for an open, beneficial, solar-punk future is on the table, but the window to actually implement it is closing, and it's closing fast. The question is no longer if this is going to be built, it's how it will be built. So what kind of world are we going to choose?